Good evening, Podium Chasers. I hope you are all well. Welcome. This evening, we've got a Wednesday night, which is a bit alien to me, if I'm quite honest with you. But yeah, COMMS by COMMS here. I'll be your host for this, well, Season 1X in the ERS, European Racing Series GT3 Championship. And as you can see on your screens, we are at the beautiful, the absolutely stunning Imola this evening for what promises to be an absolutely epic race. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. So the format for this evening, obviously this is my first time, well, luckily enough actually, my first time of doing commentary for ERS, so I'm hoping that's going to go down quite nicely with everybody. We will run through a very set format each week, so we know what to expect, and that will be, we'll start a little bit early in free practice so we can gauge what the drivers are up to. We'll get to the live chats in a moment. That's kicking off already. And yeah, so basically the format for this evening is normally during the course of this 7-week championship, 2 of those rounds are going to be a 30-minute sprint race to decide the grid for the feature race. However, I have had a word in my ear that says I believe we may have 58 on the grid tonight. Now, yesterday I did some commentary in another league, and we had 45 on the grid for that, and that was 2 very, very manic sprint races. This is obviously going to be a more of a longer form. So what we're going to do this week, we're going to split the qualifying session. So we're going to have the top 25 who currently sit in those positions in the championship. They will get to go out and do their qualifying session first, and then after 10 minutes, obviously they need to finish that lap. The rest, the other 25, 28, however many it's going to be, are going to come out and do their qualifying laps. Evidently trying to have 50 plus cars around the track at the same time is going to cause some issues. So that is the qualifying format. Thereafter, we will move into a 65-minute race. There will be 1 mandatory stop during that race, of which all drivers must take tyres. Fueling, no doubt, is probably optional. So strategy is going to play a part this evening, and I love reading that as it goes on, sort of understanding what the drivers are up to, what's in their mindsets, and how they're going to try and use any potential strategy to their benefit. There is a 20-minute pit window, so it does give people more opportunities to try undercuts, overcuts, and all those great things that no doubt we talk about all the time. So just before we get cracking on that, let's just go over to the live chats and let's have a look. Okay, so we've got chats coming in both from the Twitch channel and obviously from my YouTube channel as well. So, you know, wherever you're watching, good evening this evening. And let's have a quick look at this. We're currently looking at 112. I will, as Perez, I will change to number 12. But also, I think a disclaimer needs to be put out so far this evening. So, during the course of today and getting ready for tonight's action, evidently we've had a lot of liveries, which have had a lot of hard work and time put into them, no doubt, but not all are showing. And I have checked, double-checked, rechecked. I've had other people involved to make sure that files are where they should be and folders are where they should be. But I will say, ladies and gents, there are a few that will be just rocking the carbon look this evening. Hopefully something we can get fixed going forward. So JR Sim Racing, yeah, Lock and Load is in. Good evening, JR. Dale's in as well in the live chat. Good to see you, Dale. They're making some nice comments in there. That's very nice of them. Stream Elements, thank you for following Sebastian 12. Well, that's not a problem at all. And let's see who else is in there. Can you show? I will show you number 12. I do requests. So let's show number 12, which is Sebastian Apostle, which obviously you can see is at the top of the timing charts at the moment. You're going to love this livery, everyone. He's in the pits. What a livery that is. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on from that anyway. So let's pick someone else just to have a quick look at the moment. Let's go Helicam. Let's go TV2 so we can have a quick look at that. And yeah, so one mandatory stop is going to happen this evening. So what is the status of the field? I mean, I've done quite a bit of homework, and I feel quite honoured, if I'm quite honest with you. Some of the drivers that are actually in this field are pretty epic. From what they've done, and you know, here's me the other week sitting there watching the Spa in 24 hours. the GT one, and some of those names are popping up in here. So I mean, that's all good in my book. Obviously, you can see on your screen. Obviously, we've got G Portal. Are obviously one of our main sponsor as well. Obviously, they provide servers that most of us love to actually get involved with and drive on a regular basis. Very good prices as well, actually. So if you want to go and have a look at G Portal, I think it starts from about €3.50 to run a server. Maybe go and have a look at that. Obviously, you don't need to go anywhere from ERS because we have the practice servers running, but you catch my drift anyway. No, Sebastian, it's not my friend, unfortunately. I know that's going to be very, very annoying. I have seen deliveries, and they all look pretty good, but yeah. Michael Races is in the live chat as well. Evening, Michael. Hope you're well. Still missing my invite for this. Michael, we will get you in there soon enough. And Joel's also telling me number 12. Yeah, I know. And Sebastian's like, oh God. I know, mate. Honestly, it's the worst thing in the world when you spend all that time getting a livery done and then it's not showing. We will work on that, okay? Because sometimes it's to do with the DDoS files, sometimes it's to do with the upload, sometimes it's to do with the person in the seat. Although I promise you, I've spent more time than I should, more time than with the kids, trying to get that all rectified today. But it is one of those things. So we've got about 9 minutes left of free practice. So let's stop talking about all that stuff for a moment and let's delve into Imola in a little bit more detail, shall we? Because it's always something that I like to do. Let's have a little track walk around Imola, okay? Let's have a look at that. We all love Imola, of course we do. It offers lots of opportunities. We're seeing some pretty quick times at the moment already, but in terms of the track itself, you've got Tamburello, you've got Acqua Minerale, you've got Piratella, even Tosa's obviously a good opportunity to get hard on the brakes down there into that hairpin. There are a lot of places where you can create opportunities for overtaking, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing that on your screens. Just moving into sector 2, they've just gone through Tosa, and now we're going to go down through Acqua Minerale, as you can see there, in the run up towards the Variante Outer, and then we've got the short run down towards Ravazza 1 and 2, and then back onto the start finish straight. We will do a full lap guide. We do that every single time we go live. Ooh, someone's had a bit of a wobble there. We'll do a full lap guide, of course, when we get into qualifying, so that you, the viewers, can understand and put yourself in the position of the drivers and, well, see what it's like. Yeah, and I bang on all the time about how much effort these guys and girls really do have to put in. And unless you've sat in the seat, it doesn't matter what seat it is. It doesn't matter if it's an expensive rig, if it's a deck chair, if it's a kitchen chair. It does not matter. The effort that goes in is always pretty epic. So we've had a little look around the track. Let's have a look at some of the guys and girls that are actually in with us this evening. So I'm going to just change for a moment. He's back out. There you go. There's your carbon, Sebastian. It's shiny carbon, to be fair. Shinier than most carbon. But we'll leave that on at the moment, as Sebastian is currently running top of the charts. And let's just have a quick run through of who we've got. So, split 1 for qualifying is going to be Sebastian. Fazekas is going to be in there as well. Jeffrey Ritchie, Alessandro Catrilala. It's going to take me a week or two to get used to all of these names. Andrea's in there as well. Kellaway, DeMarco, Brugnara, Petrosini, that's a good one. Vice, Rogers, Paggi, Oliga, Matoli, Lunardi, Karai, Clarkson, Sverkov, Gowrie, Dormand, Guaglio, Begren, Magnani, Diodati. I'm going to have to learn. Do you know what? I need to do some lessons, get some really good get some good lingo going. Perez, that's your top 25, so they're going to be your first group that are going to go out when we get into qualifying, and then when they're finished, so essentially once we've gone past the 10-minute mark, they've got to complete that lap at 12 minutes. If they're not in, they're going to get hooked off the stage, basically. So the second split is going to be Bogdanovic, Clarkson, Brugnara, Centorino, Vasarani, Pickering, Crepesi, Carrera, Benelli, Baldinini, Patini, King, Togni, Milani, Battistella, Graylin, Raggi, Stock, Catalona, Gela, Perez, Salmonina, Tacchini, Castat, Serkan Duran, I know that name, I've seen Serkan race before, Pitchik, Pennington, Graveson, Thorl, Marquis, Guerin, and Cyprian. Now, again, I'll put another disclaimer out there for everybody. I do apologise, okay? I'm always happy for people to get involved in the live chats or afterwards in direct messages. If, and I'm sure I have, butchered anybody's names there, give me a shout and let me know, okay? And we'll get it rectified for next week. So that's, it's quite a few. And how many have we got checked in currently for this event? At the moment, we've got around 40. That'll do. Don't need any more than that. But I'm sure we're expecting, well, nigh on another 20. But yeah, so Sebastian is currently leading in free practice with a 140.202. Has to be said, that is absolutely rapid. You guys can see on your left-hand side of your screen, I've got the splits on there for now in terms of from the quickest lap. Are you struggling with some of that? No, Chris Vine is in the live chat. Not at all. You wouldn't believe that I did actually sit there for quite a long time today reading through them and crying quite a lot, to be honest with you. Don't worry, by the time we get to next week they'll just roll off the tongue and I'll just use their driver numbers. No, of course I won't do that. Of course I won't do that. But yeah, hope you're well, Chris. I hope you are well, sir. Okay, so they're all okay. Good. Right. Back to the action. 4 minutes left. So yeah, last week obviously we had. Last week was the first round of this season, and I did catch most of that race. And again, I was more than impressed with the standard of driving. The pace that these guys are running at is, I've seen my fair share of racing. Let's put it that way. Doing this, and in quite a few different leagues and stuff, and. Yeah, I'd say it's quite a high level, really. A very high level. Very high level. But again, just, if we have a look at the times at the moment, your top 10 are covered literally by a second. Just a smidge over a second, and the quickest lap is a 140.202. And that should give us all a bit of an idea. Thankfully, I'm not racing. That's why they let me do this, because, they'd have to give me my own server. Completely the way that's going. So anybody that is in the live chat, if you haven't said hello yet, please do. I'm not going to bite. I always like to try and get involved with everybody as we are in all of the racing that's going on. I always like to have a chat. If you want to let me know who you're supporting, if you've got any teammates that are in, or if you're just literally following someone, please put a shout out there and we can get that out to them as well. It's always good for morale, I always find. And if you haven't pressed like, if you're on the YouTube, please do. If you're on Twitch, well, give them a like. Do whatever works on Twitch to help ERS out on that front as well. That would certainly be good. Right, 3 minutes left. We better change over. Right, so Pitzik, no doubt getting that wrong, so is currently running in 4th place in the 141 Aston there. But you will remember when I just read out, when I attempted that rather long list of names for the qualifying session, he is actually in split 2. So evidently he's showing some very, very good pace. And, as the season goes on, obviously some drivers have more preferable tracks. Following the commentary bonus, some good racing. Yeah, well, hopefully JR, I'm sure it will be. Certain drivers suit certain tracks, their cars suit certain tracks. Could be down to how much practice they've had to get. There is a million different elements that all go into what we're going to witness over the next hour and a half. And certainly I'm expecting us to be sub 140s in qualifying without a doubt. That would be amazing, wouldn't it, really? Sub 140s. So Sebastian is in the pits. He's probably got his crew out there now, actually, just trying to do the paint job on his car. But so Andrea is also in the pits, and then we've got Prachassini in 3rd place at the moment in the pits in the 85 Audi. We've just been watching Ole. Then we've got Perez who's currently running in 5th, just over 7/10 off the pace. Again, it's not a massive issue at the moment. We're in free practice in that Honda. And then we've got Fazekas is running 6th, Magnani 7th, DeMarco, well, we haven't mentioned DeMarco yet, it's in the pits, in 8th place. Brugnara, there you go, in his 29 Ferrari there, is running 9th, and Patino, another Sebastian, is bringing up your top 10 as we stand. We did have 40 in, we're now up to 43. It's getting there. It certainly is. Who should we have a look at? Luke Rogers. There's a complicated name. I can deal with that one. Right. I'm on Luke Cam tonight, everyone, in the 21 Audi. Obviously, I'm joking, guys. You will get used to that. You know, you might not like it either, but you know, I do try and bring some humour to proceedings as well. It's not all about the racing. I want everyone to get involved. Let's have a little different camera angle for the last sort of 15 seconds before we jump into the qualifying session. What I will do so I'm just going to change that. Phones, I've got a lot of things going on, a lot of things flashing at me at the moment, which is to be expected. Right, so free practice is just currently coming to an end, which means you know what's going to happen. We're going to have 25 rapid individuals going to get out on track in a moment. The other 20 plus chaps and chapettes are going to have to wait their turn, and no doubt they'll all come flooding into the chat, distract me, which is great because I love chatting to everybody, and yeah, we'll go from there. I'm just going to wait for that to change. Everyone, Kellaway's still out at the moment in his Aston. We'll just keep an eye on him whilst we wait to the session to move into qualifying. What we obviously we're also going to do, you know, in terms of how we're trying to produce this broadcast to give you guys and girls as much information as possible. I know you've probably seen all these gadgets and gizmos before, which is, yeah, of course you have, but we're going to make sure that you can try and keep your eye on the drivers, what their splits are. We can have a look at previous laps, we can go back, you know, if we think someone's, you know, really hunting somebody down, we can do comparisons, which is always interesting. To see what those sort of doubters are, and that can be done over a number of laps. That's always, I think, something which works pretty well. Okay, let me just get out of that. 1 second, ladies and gents. As you can see, they're all coming thundering out for this qualifying session. So we need to make sure we're hitting the right one. So, as is time-honoured tradition through what I like to do, the first one out the bag is usually the one that we're going to stick on for the qualifier, for our lap guide. That is what we normally do. So who is that out there? Okay. That's alright. You would not, honestly, you would not believe the amount of windows we've got open at the moment. Guys trundling down the pit lane. So Andrea is first out the bag. Again, you've got to think, you know, with the new tyre model, the new updates that have happened. You know, apologies to people that are watching that normally watch me, because this is information that you already know. Obviously, it takes a while to get those tyres into the operating window. You've got 4 individuals there who are very, very close. Either someone's going to make a move and overtake somebody, or you're going to need to start backing off and obviously making sure that you've got enough space to get your lappings. If someone in front of you has a bit of a wobble, or someone behind you that's close decides to outbrake themselves, or their tyres aren't in the window, that is evidently going to cause a lot of issues. But as we come down towards Ravazza, it's Aston time and it's lap guide time. So Andrea take it away. Okay, so through Ravazza 2 onto the start-finish straight. Nice line through there. So we are absolutely full throttle down this part of the track. We're going to hug the wall slightly. Obviously, you can't go across too far. You will invalidate. Keep it nice and tight to the wall. On the way down towards Tamburello, you want to make sure you're right on that curb there on the left. People don't do that, and you're missing out maybe on 100th or so. Anyway, where the orange is on the right outside, we're going to get hard on the brakes now, down into second gear into Tamburello. Ride that curb, so we're squeezing on that throttle, a jink to the middle of the track, then cut back left straight away, all the way out to the curb on the right hand side and up towards Villeneuve. So you're looking for around about now, we're going to drop it a gear and then drop it another 2 gears. Again, it's all about the flow. Just about kept that one within track limits down towards Tosa, just where the exit road there is. That's where we're going to get onto the brakes. Some cars are in first. Obviously the Aston with the gearing doesn't mind taking those slower corners in second. Now we're going to have the run up the hill towards Piratella. It's difficult left-handed, this one. On the brakes, you're down a couple of gears and then you've got to wait. You must take that curve on the left. It's about the timing of that one. Then down the hill towards Acqua Minerale, we're going to dab the brakes, hook it in, then we're going to down a couple of gears on those brakes. We're going to trail in. Now we're going to get on the throttle, use as much of that exit curve as we can, full throttle on the hill up towards the Variante Outer, onto the left of the track where the curb starts. Now we're going to get on the brakes now, down into first. Again, second in the Aston, cut both of those curbs. Got to be careful there because it can upset the car and spit you out. And then we're going to get hook the line on the left hand side in the run down towards Ravazza, and we're going to cut back across to the right where we've got the 50 board there on the brakes just before then, down into second. We've trailed in, we've carried the momentum through there, and again we're just going to lift up the throttle, apply as soon as we are on that apex, and then we've got the sprint for the start finish line. So let us see what lap time we're going to get from Andrea. What are we going to get? That's the question. Wow. I think we may have had an invalid lap there, which is unfortunate. So, currently in P1, we've got Samuel Brugnara with a 141.502. You can see that he was all purple. He's done okay in those other 2 sectors, but he's not lighting the screens up at the moment. Vice is currently in second, and what we're talking there, we're talking 1300ths off the pace, so nice and tight. Lunardi's in third as Perez goes pole, provisional pole I should say, and Fazekas has just done the same thing. So these individuals are now starting to put some decent lap times in, as you guys will obviously get that notification on your screen every single time that happens, so you can keep abreast of who is pushing, and maybe who's sandbagging. We'll have to figure that one out as we go along, won't we? Anyway, so let's have a quick look at this. We're on board at the moment with Brugnara. So Fazekas is currently provisional pole. Then we've got Perez. So we're now into the low 41s. I did say I'm expecting the 39, maybe a high 39. Vice is fourth. Lunardi is currently in fifth. There's Lunardi in a 375 BMW. Then we've got Kellaway, who's in sixth place in the 23 Aston. Oliga is in 7th currently, and he's in the 42 flats. So there's about a second between 1st and 7th at the moment. Luke Rogers is in 8th. Sverkov 9th. Clarkson's in 10th. Carra is in 11th. Bergeron's currently 12th. DeMarco is 13th. Then we've got Magnani in 14th. Apostle. Well, we know Sebastian was pretty quick earlier on. We've got an invalid lap there, so let's see if he can do any better on this one. Currently in 15th place, and then everybody else is currently still in the pits that haven't set a lap as yet. Fresh Brizzle, aka Alan Brown, bonjour. Yes, indeed. I hope you're well, mate. And I did say Sebastian would be looking to put his vehicle pretty near the top of that grid, and he's just done a 140.345. So that is a pretty quick, sharpish lap from Sebastian there. And Perez has also just dipped it into the 40s, as has Petrosini as well. So, as you know, the track is obviously going to start to evolve. You've got a lot of cars on there, so they're putting rubber down, and obviously that's going to help everyone with their, basic mechanical grip, really. And it's going to help those tyres, so that's why you're seeing the lap times get quicker and quicker as you go through the qualifying session, which could actually really benefit Split 2. If you think about it. It's 19 degrees ambient currently and 23 on track, so we have got perfect conditions for quick laps. And I mean perfect conditions there. So you can see who's doing better on their laps and who's not doing better on their laps. So Apostle is currently up by about a tenth on his lap, which is, well, great news for him considering he's on provisional pole. Perez is maybe having a little bit of a warm down type lap, if you like, maybe getting those tyres back in the window. Petrosini's absolutely flat from what he did in his previous lap. And other big movers and shakers at the moment, DeMarco's just gone yellow on my screen, unfortunately. Well, Matoli is half a second up, as is David Gowrie in 20th. So we are, you know, there are people that are trying. Evidently, Andrea's just gone yellow as well. Sebastian's flashing away because we've got someone coming into the pits, and evidently he doesn't want someone blocking him off or slowing down. And that's, you know, he doesn't need that issue, does he? He wants to be put to the floor. Does he improve? A 140, 170, so he's got a 4 and a bit tenths in the bag at the moment, which impressive. You know, we always talk about what's comfortable, what's a comfortable gap in terms of ACC, and I'm usually saying, you know, sort of 7-8 tenths is usually pretty comfortable at this level, and we may see that be a lot shorter. Actually, I'm expecting these guys to be able to run absolutely nose to tail with no issues at all. So no change from there. Let's go and have a look. So Perez has done alright there. He's moved himself up into provisional P3 in the 112 Honda. Andrea still in 4th. Magnani in 5th. Fazekas 6th. Kellaway isn't improving at the moment in 7th. Bugnara is improving by 3 tenths in 8th. So let's have a look at Bugnara. 3 tenths would put him up 2, maybe 3 spots. So could potentially go P5. With that one. Weiss in 9th, Lunardi 10th, Paggi 11th, Oligus in 12th, Clarkson, Sverkov, Rogers, Bergman's in the pits in 16th, Gary's in 17th, then we've got Guaglio in 18th in the pits as well. Carre's out on track at the moment in 19th, Matoli's on track as well, going slightly, and I mean slightly slower than the previous lap. DeMarco in 21st, and Catrissa, I need to get that name right, let me see that. Catricala. That sounds better. Alessandro Catricala, that's a beautiful name. 22nd place. Catalona is in the pit, so we've got 22 out on track currently at the moment. But nobody is able at this stage to really put any pressure on Sebastian Apostel as it stands. Still got a good 4 tenths in the bag. So yeah. We've got 2.5 minutes left of this first part of qualifying, and then these guys are going to get the opportunity to finish that lap, and then they're going to have to jump in the pit. So let's have a look at Magnani. We haven't had a look at Magnani yet in the 818 BMW. It's good to see. That's a nice livery. I do like that. Certainly stands out. We've got a good. Everyone's deciding that lap's not going to my liking. I'm just going to pull over. Okay. So up through Acqua Minerale, the climb up the hill, we've got the short sprint towards the Variante Alta. Again, a great place that you could, obviously you could affect some potential overtaking there. If you get a decent run out of Acqua Minerale, you know, people don't always get that exit right, and that will allow you to get really, really close to that individual. And then we've got the run down the hill towards Ravazza. Let's just take that in on the beam. Let's have a little listen to her. And then on to the start-finish straight. So all, wow, no, we're going to dump it in the pits. We've got a minute and a bit left. If we're wanting to make a very quick change to tyres and get back out, I don't think you're going to have enough time to do that. So everyone is being very, very good. Everyone's thinking, you know what, am I going to improve? Potentially, maybe not. And everyone is then coming back into the pit. So who do we still have out on a quick lap? Weiss is yellow flagged at the moment, so Weiss will be in the pits, no doubt, very, very shortly. Sverkov is also just pulled over. Luke Rogers is in the pit. So everybody, that's Group 1 done, ladies and gents. So time to beat is Sebastian Apostol's time of a 140.170. That's the one that we need to be looking at. So let's get back out. Although Berggren is still there. No, he's not. So here we go. Here's our first one from Split 2. And it's Oliver Gerler, who is in the 99 McLaren. We've got one coming out of the pits. This is always this. I mean, I think it's a very sensible decision to split it. If I'm quite honest with you, because as I said last night, I mean it was an epic qualifying session, and it was a short session as well because of the series it was in. You had an enormous amount of people vying for position, which evidently did cause some tickets because people's laps were, being impeded. So I think it was very sensible from the admin guys to split this session. So Oliver is just coming out of Tosa and up towards Piratella. Again, I did mention Piratella earlier on today. It's a really difficult corner, Piratella. You've really got to balance that car. Say its name. No, I'm not going to say its name. Hello, Cass. Good evening, sir. I will say its name, actually, because the fans are asking me to. So this other league that was going on yesterday was Formula Racing League. And yeah, so they were doing a super sprint series, which is actually very, very entertaining. And some good high-quality racing as well. So, obviously this is your Wednesdays, but if you want to do something on a Tuesday, there you go. Cheers, guys. I miss FR. I definitely need a PS5. Spacey, oh my word, that is a name. Say it. That is a name I haven't seen in a long time, Spacey. I hope you're well, mate. And this is on PC, buddy, not PS5, but it looks pretty epic on PS5 as well. And I've just got a big thank you in the live chat, and no doubt a check. Another one. What's that? I'm being cut off. I'm sorry. Anyway, jokes. All joking aside, so Oliver Gerlach crosses the line, so he's doing a 42.547. That is quite a difference, isn't it? So in terms of your original group, no one's really making any headway in there, but again, people are now just beginning to put those laps together. We'll see how that transpires. Let's have a look at Catalona. Now, in the 57 Nissan, again, this won't mean anything to you guys, but there's a chap that I've raced with for a long time, and we actually met at Donington a couple of weeks ago, and he just is in love with this car. His name is Gamer Dad, and yeah, absolutely loves the Nissan. But I'm interested to see. You don't actually see a lot of the Nissans in the higher league, so I'm actually very interested to see how Manuel actually gets on with her and how competitive she can be. We're all going to find that out shortly, aren't we? No change to those top guys. We need to see some people attacking and putting some laps in. Clarkson's in 28th, so Bogdanovic is 27th at the moment. He's currently 4 tenths up on the previous lap in the number 602, so that could be quite interesting. Gerler's also 0.3, 0.4 up on his first go, so we'll see. Currently in 21st place, we'll see how well. What's he doing? If he's going to do 0.4, that'll put him on a 42.1, so that'll move him up sort of 3 or 4 places, maybe to do 17th or 18th, if he can ensure that he gets that lap done. 6.5-ish minutes left of this qualifying session. Remember, this is round 2 of the European Racing Series League GT3 Championship. Interesting. So we did pick out Ole Pitzig earlier on today. He was running 4th, if you remember, in free practice, and then I did mention he was going to run in the second group, but he's just managed to put in a pretty decent lap time, a 140.965, and has stuck his vehicle into provisional 5th place. So he currently is the only sort of main person at this stage from Group 2 who's challenging the guys in the first split at the moment. But Catalona is still on route. Luke Rogers is in the pits at the moment. He's in 18th place. And then we've got Togley, who's in 20th, he's 0.2 up on his time. Patino's 22nd. Christian Stock, let's have a look at Christian Stock in the 25 Porsche, is currently running in 23rd place. And then Oliver, who we started obviously watching in the McLaren, is 25th. Mance Gravesen is 26th currently. And then we've got Bogdanovic, Gowrie is in the pits, Guaglio's in the pits, Carra's in the pits as well. Kraling is currently in 32nd place, Raggy's 33rd, Mortoli's in the pits, Serkan Duran, is he in a Lambo? Of course he is. Serkan Duran, again, had the pleasure of commentating on Serkan across in FRL. Something to note is that the splits are based on standings after the first round. Yes, indeed. And so there may be some fast guys. Indeed, I totally agree with you there. Team Limitless Sim Sports. Absolutely agree with you. Sorry, I should say Marcus. Name at the bottom there. But yeah, I mean, you're totally right. I was saying earlier on in free practice, you know, some tracks suit certain drivers and certain cars. And, you know, there's lots of things that culminate together to give either a good or a not so good result. So I'm sure as the season progresses, you will more naturally see a more rounded split. By no means am I insinuating we've got pros and AMs. That's obviously not what we've got here. We're all, you know, they're all pretty good. For example, I qualified P41 and finished P24 at Spa, unless I was in the first split, but pace-wise, I may not have been. Totally get it. What's the channel name on Twitch? It's a very good question. I think if you search for European Series on Twitch TV, you'll be able to access it from there, JR. Anyway, back to this. So, Serkan Duran, again, I've had the pleasure of commentating on him previously in Formula Racing League. Good driver. He's got some decent pace, and there you go. Boom. Link's just been popped up. I can't do it all, but thank you for helping. I really appreciate that. So, he's running in 38th at the moment. Crepesi's in 39th. Lenelli's in 40th at the moment. And then we've got Ian King. Again, let's have a look at Ian King. First time we've had a look at this individual this evening in the 19 BMW. Currently running in 41st place. Baldinini's in 42nd, and then we've got Pickering who's in 43rd, and Milani in 44th. So we've actually got 44 in, which is great because we had 45 last night, and I could just about cope. So that one less for tonight. That's it. Here we go. Pittick's gone up again, so he's now in the 140s, so he's moved up to 4th. Andrea's put, well, we know Andrea put a lap together before because he was in the other split. Luke Pennington, let's have a look at Luke. We haven't had a look at Luke yet in the 740 BMW. Obviously, great British driver there. So Luke's currently in 17th place, is going slightly quicker than his previous lap. That would move him up probably 2, 3 spots if he can just keep that 10th. He's currently dead flat at the moment, as you can see. And now he's losing a little bit of time. But yeah, so Luke could potentially, if he gets a decent run through the two Ravazzas, move up a couple of spots. But he's now backed out of that, so he's gone yellow on my screen. Is obviously shaping up for a final effort, if you like. So just under 2 minutes, well, 2 minutes 15 left of this qualifying session. It's time for these guys. If there's got anything left in the tank, they need to get on it now. Luke comes into the pit, so with 2 minutes left to go, that's probably his session done and dusted. Let's go a bit further down there. So let's have a look at Daniel Togney in the number 6 McLaren again. Everyone's rocking out that carbon livery today, aren't they? Right, Stella commentating, keep it up. I have to return to the track. Crack on, mate. Good luck. And we've got who's that in there? Perez. Perez gives us a thumbs up. That's fantastic. That's on the tube. Again, remember, this is being streamed both from my YouTube channel, COMMS by Coops, and also from the ERS Twitch channel. So whatever you need to do to help both channels, press those buttons. It will be absolutely fantastic. 1 minute 20 seconds left, and then we're going to have an absolutely epic 65-minute race. 44 individuals absolutely gunning for it around Imola. I'm going to be really intrigued to see just how the strategies do come into play. You know, are people going to fuel light and go for a sprint from the start, maybe pit early? I don't think tyres are going to be a major issue over an hour. I know you have to take tyres, so I think it's going to come more down towards how people use the fuel. That's my personal opinion on that, but obviously we await to see if that is the case. Anybody else? Ooh, yeah, so Brugnara's moved up to 14th place. That's a great effort. Christian Stock is up into 17th from this particular qualifying group. Catalona's 22nd, Geller 23rd. Rogers is in the pits. Togney, who we were just watching there. Vasarani, we haven't seen Vasarani. Another one rocking out the Carbon, the 47 Audi. Again, disclaimer for everybody, I did say at the top of the show, we've spent a lot of time so far trying to make sure that all the liveries were available, making sure the files are where they should be. Evidently, some of those haven't come through. We will work extremely hard to make sure whatever issues there were with that are obviously fixed for next week. Thank you. Okay, so we've got a new follower. That is fantastic. And Toto Spino is actually following Petrosini. Did I get that right? Come on. Petrosini. That doesn't sound too far off. Hopefully that is pretty much on the nose. So Kandran down in 34th currently at the moment, but still got an opportunity. Qualifying has finished. So, anyone who's on a lap, this is it. You've got to get that finished. But I think we're pretty safe to say congratulations to Sebastian Apostel. Pole position for round 2. That was a stellar drive. It's been very, very strong all through practice as well. Petrosini, second place, and Perez is qualified on P3 currently. So that is all good. Let me just put mandatory stop on, as people are just finishing off. Just gonna set that up. Okay, so that is all good to go. Right. Let's just have a chat and see what they're saying in the live chat there. We don't need to see that, do we, ladies and gents? No, it's all private information. But you can still see it anyway. That will obviously move off shortly. It's just about race control. Okay, all good. Yeah, no chatting, guys. No chatting in the chat. Christopher Gedman's in the live chat. Good evening, Chris. Is there another race on tonight? No, there isn't, Chris. No, but I do believe there is a podcast on later on this evening. Again, from those other people. I can't say it again. I'm gonna get shot. The King of Bathurst. Is that what he did? Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to Friday on that, actually. Because Coops does try and drive sometimes as well. And we've got a 2-hour race on Friday, which everybody's more than welcome to get involved in. Or you can watch me on my YouTube channel and just laugh at how bad I am. That's totally fine. Okay, so we are all lined up. Remember, oh, that hasn't changed, has it? 1 second. I did ask for that to change. But it's decided it doesn't want to, so I'm going to have to manually do that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you, ladies and gents, will now see, obviously everybody is lined up. We're going to have a full formation lap, as always. We'll talk about that as they get underway. No, don't try and get me to say it, Chris. I've already said it. I've already pleased somebody else. Can't do it again. So, again, this is the European Racing Series, round 2. Of season 1X. It is a big one, and we've got a 65-minute race. Remember, we've got a 20-minute pit window, which I'm sure is going to allow some good strategy to take place. Now, you will see, just in case you're not familiar with how all these graphics work, or if you're new to watching this sort of stuff and you're thinking, actually I might stick around a little bit. So how do we know that they've got a pit stop? You can see the sort of gold orange 1 between their name and their car number. When that has been completed, that will of course then basically change to a green strip. We know that the pit stop is complete and they are good to go until the end of the race. So that is how we can differentiate between who has pitted and who hasn't. And the other thing that we're going to get to do, which is pretty cool, is we're going to be able to actually understand just how important those pit stops are and how long they're taking. We can then, given that information and knowledge, we can then deduce who we think is doing what, who's running what strategy, who's splashing and dashing, who's fueling, who's fueling extra towards the end of that stint or bang on halfway through the race, and that's going to give us more of an idea of who is actually carrying what pace at what stage of the race. So that's what we can look forward to. So again, if you haven't seen this before, we've just finished qualifying. Just about to get ready. You can see the cars jumping up and down. That's them just going into their setups and coming back out again. Why are they doing that? Well, they're just making some tweaks, making sure those tyre pressures are good. Maybe make some changes in terms of brake ducts. You know, they might want to make something. Might want to change the differential, put a bit more wing on. Who knows what they're doing? But these guys will just be making the final tweaks. I can hear some engines rumbling, and there we go. Formation lap is indeed underway. So let's go. Let's go up here, shall we? Yes. Just for the start. I've got an issue here. Where's he gone? Postal? Sebastian, where are you? Sebastian's... Is he disconnected? Wow, it looks like that is... I mean, that's a real shame, isn't it? So Sebastian, who's been absolutely driving out of his skin all through a free practice, stuck it on pole, comfortably on pole in qualifying. Well, you can all see on your screens. Wow, it's gone. So he must have disconnected. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in. That is a real shame. In the live chat, who have we got? Chris Pizzook. Good evening, sir. I hope you're well, mate. And we've got another one in. Hey, pal. Yeah, good. I'm glad you're all in. You know, if you can spare a few moments, I know our times are different in terms of in the UK to the European times, but hey, why don't you have a little watch whilst you're having your dinner and listen to me absolutely get all of these names incorrect, although I think they're getting slightly better, I must say. But yeah, have a good race, Chris, tonight, and don't forget to leave a like, obviously. Oh dear, I don't know, I say it a lot. Jay Martz, evening, looking to get into ACC, so hopefully a great race to get me excited too. Well, to be honest with you, Jay Martz, this race probably won't get you excited. It will probably make you question, do I really want to do this? Because I am very, very sure the level of driving that we're about to see, touch wood, is going to be absolutely epic. And these boys are rapid. We're talking low 140s, and that is not to be sniffed at all. But certainly, Joe Martz, as a simulator, I absolutely love ACC and everything that it gives to all of us. So, yeah, don't be shy. Definitely got to get involved. So, again, what are they doing during this formation lap? They are what's meant to be racing. Shogun. That's. I won't say the word you used there, mate, but that is unfortunate. Next week, though. Next week. I'll definitely keep the eyes open. So they've done their formation up in single file. Now you can see that they've formed up 2 by 2, obviously, as it comes round to Ravazza. So they have had the opportunity to put heat cycles through the tyres, through the brakes, make sure that everything is within that operating window. Do you do different tiers? I'm sure. I don't think we do, no. I know a man who does, so you can drop me a line. Yeah, so they've had the chance to do the heat cycles. They're now all going to line up. It's quite a long way, actually, down the start-finish straight here until they get going. It almost takes absolutely forever, but we are not far away. We are not far away from getting this 65-minute race underway. So this is round 2 of the ERS GT3 Championship Season 1X. They're waiting. I'm waiting. Come on, go! They're all pretty nervous. There we go. Race is underway. Please be clean. Please be clean into Tamburello. So you can see people are just jockeying for position slightly. We've got a good start from Petrosini. Perez has also got a good start there. Oh, but Petrosini's gone too deep into the start of Tamburello and ends up losing at least 1 spot there. No, I'd say he's lost 2 spots as they come flying through for the first time. We've got 1 bit of contact. Patino in 12th, as you can see them all filing through there, 2, 3 abreast. Absolutely crazy already. Again, you've got to think, in the first throes of a race, especially a race that is sort of 60, 65 minutes long, nothing's gonna be in the window. Yeah, we don't know what fuel levels is. We've got someone going off at Tozer there, and you can see them all come trundling through. That is a big gaggle at the back. Let's move back slightly, and obviously we'll keep an eye on all the doubters. And then up towards Piratella for the first time. No contact, please. No contact, please. Let's keep it all clean as they all go flying through there down towards Acqua Minerale for the first time. Let's get on board with someone and see what this all looks like. and this will certainly give J-Marts an idea of what you can expect. But yeah, first lap, we don't know what fuel everyone's running at the moment. We don't know, obviously, what tyre pressures they're running. Are they in the window? Are they not in the window? Do certain cars, you know, get those tyres heated up in the window quicker than others? And again, I always say this, lots of different elements have to come together. They're all going to be at completely different phases of what they're doing. Hard on the brakes, into Ravazza 1, off the brakes. Yeah, early up change there to cut the traction out. You do have to look after the tyres as well. Remember, they will go off. You can overheat the tyres. You can ruin them pretty quickly. So if we go, let's go back. So Perez is your race leader in the 112 Honda. Actually, quite ironic and funny, but Perez was the first guy I actually looked at earlier on today, completely out in random. So yeah, certainly getting some luck there. And Pitzik, again, who did really well in free practice and in qualifying, finds himself up into second place at the moment, not too far behind, holds the quickest lap of the race, a 1:51.250. That will definitely come down. Then we've got Petrosini in the 85 Audi, who, remember, was not on pole, was second place, but obviously because, unfortunately, Sebastian got disconnected or whatever happened. Oh, we've seen a big crash at the back. I'll have a check on that in a moment. He did end up in pole position, but ran too deep into the first part of Tamburello and lost a couple of places. But at the moment, he's got himself some company, and that company would be Andrea in the 33 Aston Martin. So we'll have a look at these guys through Acqua Minerale. Again, just a different viewpoint. You can hear that Audi sing. Right, let's go helicam so we can get a bit more view. So let's have a quick run through. So what are we? A couple of minutes into the race at the moment, so we are nearly 4 minutes in. So Perez is leading, Pitzik second, Petrosini's in third place so far, Andrea's in fourth. We're watching this four at the moment. Then we've got Magnani, as we're looking at the moment, is in fifth. Fazekas is in sixth, Vice seventh, Brugnara is in eighth, and Kellaway's ninth. Oh, and we've got two Brugnaras. Interesting. Definitely. Wow, I'm assuming that's going to be a family situation. So Samuel and Mattia. Samuel's currently holding all the bragging rights on that, as Petrosini just sets fastest lap of the race with a 1:41.897. So people are now starting to push, and they're starting to get their eye in, most certainly. Leonardi's in 11th place. Catalano's in 12th. DeMarco's 13th. Stock's 14th. Paggy's 15th. And then we've got Catricala's in 16th. Oliga 17th. Luke Pennington's just lost a place to Sverkov. We've got a nice little battle going on here, haven't we? So let's get on board with that and have a little look. In towards Villeneuve, and again, so Graveson's right behind him in that BMW. So Luke in his BMW in the 740, not only is he having to defend quite heavily by the look of it, because he's not got one, he's got two on his tail that you guys can see in your mirror as well. And this is the beauty. I talk about this again all the time as well, as we're on the run up towards Piratella. We'll just see how long he pauses for. Again, just enough. You heard the double down change, just enough to make sure the car's going to rotate there enough and take the curb, not spit the car out, and then back on the power again. So again, as I say, a lot of the time when you're in this sort of position, you're thinking about how your strategy, you know, if you're running less fuel and you're quicker, you want to get by the guy in front, of course you do. But if you've got individuals behind you, it's doubly difficult, isn't it? Because not only are you having to think about your racecraft to attack in terms of where you're placing the car, and we've got a move done there, so Petrosini's just dropped a spot as well. He's dropped down into fourth position. Yeah, it's very interesting to understand what's going through the drivers' minds, because, as I say, you've got to be doing the racecraft to try and overtake the person in front, but then you're also having to do the same thing to defend, and you can't take things lightly. So we've evidently had an issue there. So Pitzik is your new race leader, but he's got company. Perez has obviously given up that lead at the moment. Perez is in second place, but obviously Pitzik's got the quickest lap of the race of 41.740. So these top two are slowly breaking away. You can see they've built a 1.4 second gap back towards Andrea, who's then got 0.7 seconds to Petrosini, and Magnani is also very similarly gapped. So that's a very, very brief update at the moment. Where did we get to? I think we got to So Svirkov in 18th, we got to Luke, didn't we? So Luke's in 19th place, he's involved in that big scrap. Yeah, we'll keep on that for a moment. Graveson's in 20th place, and then we've got Vasarani 21st, Clarkson. Let's go look at Clarkson. Right, so Clarkson's in the Bentley. We haven't seen a Bentley yet, have we, today, in the 108 Bentley? So Miles Clarkson's obviously trying to use that big Boatley, trying to throw around the track and catch up with these four in front. And then we've got George Clarkson just behind as well. So again, I think potentially we've got another family affair going on. So that's all good. We like that. Cranin's in 24th place. Begran's 25th. Geller's in 26th. Serkan Duran 27th. Then we've got Karai 28th. Baldinini 29th. And Luke Rogers. Let's have a look at Luke, who looks like he wants to just attempt a move. Let's see if Luke can put a move on. So Luke is chasing down the rather striking 26 Aston in front. He's definitely got a good run there. So is he going to try and duck on the inside down towards Aquamanarale? Gets on the brakes, then he's just showing his nose. He's trying to make sure, and we've got... Oh, watch out, boys. Oh, we've got two off there, and did that collect him? I think it did, didn't it? That is unlucky. Yeah, that is unlucky. So, wow. Luke Rogers rather fortuitously there gains 3 positions very, very quickly. So Karai Baldini, and then we've got Crepezzi's in 30th place, and these two, well, they're now scrapping, aren't they? They little love tap bar. They may have touched there as well, as they're just getting in towards the entry for Tamburello. And if they did, I mean, it did look like a very, very tiny touch. But if they did touch, that's evidently going to, well, just push him slightly wide. And if you're going wide and you're putting a tyre on the grass or the gravel, that it's not going to pay dividends, it's going to hurt. Anyway, back in 31st, we've got Ian King. Oh, that was good timing. Sorry, Ian, in the 19 BMW there, as we saw, just went a little bit wayward. So apologies for that. Commentator's curse. Benelli, as you can see there, is in 36th. And we've got Matoli really, really close behind. So another really close scrap going on here. Carreras in 38th. Obviously, King's now down in 39th. Pickering. So look at Pickering in 14th position. There you go. Pickering's got Togni. No, he hasn't. Who's the triple one? So that's Patino, who's in 42nd place. And those two are scrapping at the back. Now, you know what? It doesn't actually matter. I mean, it does, because we're all competitive. But what you generally find when you're in a competitive league, now, it doesn't mean everyone's an alien. I mean, a competitive league, where you've got good, similarly paced, committed individuals that are going to put time into practice, who are going to think about their setups, they're going to look at ways they can improve themselves, yeah? It's the tenths, the hundreds. It's just so that they can keep that consistency going. You've got two individuals here in 41st and 42nd place. Look at them. They're having an absolutely epic scrap, aren't they? I think they are. So let's see how this one pans out, and then we shall have a look. But obviously, I need to have a little listen to the Aston, and I love the rattle when she's off the gas. Gonna have to defend though. That Honda's definitely got a quicker run out of Ravazza all the way down this big straight, so it's going to be getting the benefit of a tow. So it's just letting the Aston punch a hole in the air, and the Honda's just going to sit there. And just as we come into Tamburello, we're going to have a move. We've got to get a move. Yep, there we go. On the brakes, heavy on the brakes, outbroke himself, and that was good racecraft. That was a wise head, I think, there. So Patino really wanted to get that move done, and was a little bit too eager. Maybe those brakes, well, they just didn't want that, did they? Anyway, new fastest lap of the race for Petrosini, a 1:41.150. So that's pretty sharpish, isn't it? And Kellaway's just made a move on Weiss. So Kellaway in the 23 Aston has moved up to 7th place and is leading quite a large train, as you can see. We're 10 minutes, just over 10 minutes into the race at the moment. So everyone's definitely going to be in their rhythm, and they now are probably already starting to think about their pit strategy in terms of, am I running the right one? Yeah, do I need to make a change of that? For instance, yeah, so Kellaway's leading this group. If we look back at the Brugnara chaps, yeah, who've just swapped positions as well, if we have a little think about them, they might be thinking to themselves, well, I'm stuck in this train. Yeah, and I'm losing time. I know I'm quicker than this, or it's, it's probably an idea probably quite a good idea then to think, okay, how can I use my strategy to do something different to get me out of all this dirty air and all this fighting? Because obviously, whilst these guys are all scrapping away, your group at the front are breaking away slightly. Not massively, the gaps are still only around 1 to 1.5 seconds. But these two are the closest at the moment, 0.4. Pennington's also only 0.4 behind Vasarani, 19th to 20th. So I'll keep an eye on that delta. But at the moment, everyone seems to be in a good rhythm, yeah, which is fantastic to see. So, as I said, I do really think strategy is going to play a big part as they all come trundling over those sausage curves at the Variante Alta. And I've got to say, I've driven the Ferrari quite a lot when I'm actually driving and not chatting away, and that is one place that I mean, we know the Ferrari's skittish, as is the Audi, as is the Lambo and the McLaren, and we know that, and you know, but those sausage curves, especially that one, really upsets that car if you get it wrong. You've got to tiptoe through there as quickly as you can. JR still in, giving a big clap out to Chris P. Good to see. Andrea, fastest lap of the race, so 140. We're broken into the 40s now, so 140.932. So Andrea in third place, more than looking to put on some pressure onto Perez, and Petrosini in fourth place hasn't given up the ghost as yet, which is good to see. Let's get on board and see what the controls are like. So guys, any of you that are watching, you enjoy it? Yeah, I bet you do. I bet you do, JR. My Ferrari is more for picturing purposes these days, as you will all get very used to. But occasionally she does get let out, which is, that's all good fun. It is all good fun. So just watch the steering inputs at the moment of Andrea. Let's get an idea of how the Aston is handling. Obviously we've got definitely quickest in sector 3. Again, the Aston, she will allow you to chew on those curves a lot easier than a lot of the other cars. So Lenardi 10th, so Brugnara's had an incident there, dropped down to 13th. So Samuel is now in the box seat from the Brugnara family in 9th place. Lenardi 10th, Catalona 11th, DeMarco 12th. And but now Paggy and Christian Stock are all over the back of Brugnara as well. So we're just keeping an eye on all these doubters whilst we're enjoying what it feels like to be in the top 3 and keeping rather rapid. Petrosini behind as well in fourth place. Into Tamburello, hard on those brakes, get it down into second. Off now, let's do a little squeeze of the throttle, take the curb. Now we're flat out, we're going to hook that curve on the left hand side and we're going to just drag ourselves wide. Obviously not taking any dirt there, up towards Villeneuve again. We've got to be very delicate on the brakes, down again, get the car tucked in, down 2 gears, tucked in again on the power, hard. Great pace, definitely catching Perez. Into toes as we go. So we're going to stay on board with this one just for this lap and see how it develops. Remember, Petrosini is only 0.5 behind as well. So not only is Andrea dealing with really pushing to try and overtake, which is impressive, into Piratella, down a gear, down another gear, again, keeping that slight pause. But you can see in the rear view mirror, Petrosini is going nowhere as we enter into Acqua Minerale. Just a slightly there, down a couple of gears, get the car tucked in, squeeze, use all the track, and away we go. That Honda had a little bit of a bump on the curb on the outside there, so that may have slowed him down just slightly into the Variante Alta. Hard on the brakes again, and we're going to go second or first. Taking it in second, but look how close Petrosini's closed up behind. So that could develop into something. We're watching in front at the moment, but we need to keep our eyes on what's going on behind as well. Into Vatsa as Petrosini closes right up through the first one and then into the second one. And all the while, these three are having a rather fun race. Oh, Dow's back in. Hello, Dow. Good. Is the football finished, Dal, or what? But while these three are having a scrap, it's allowing Pitzik to eke away. We've now got a 2-second gap at the front of the field. But there's a 3-way scrap going on there for the podium, and I'm 100% positive the pit stops and the strategy is going to come into play. We are, 10-15 minutes into the race, so I'd say probably another 7-8 minutes that pit window's going to open, and then we're going to see what's actually going on. So, not wanting to come away from a great battle, I'm going to go and have a little look and see what else we can find. So Stock Catricala, 15th and 16th. There's only 1/10 in it between them, so that, well, there should be a move there. Again. Right. Anyone who's watching separately, keep an eye on that top battle. Well, I'll keep an eye on it as well. It's 0.4, so it's elongated slightly. So we're on board currently with Manuel Catalona in the 57 Nissan. So it'd be interesting to see how he got on. Currently running very nicely in 11th place. Is under pressure from DeMarco in the 39 BMW. And DeMarco, well, I mean, Brugnaro we know was pretty quick early on. Was running very, very close to his namesake, and then evidently had an issue and dropped back a couple of places. And it looks like there's was that a place done? No, it wasn't. So it looks like we've got a pretty good battle going on here. So let's go on board with DeMarco and let's enjoy. So he's definitely more worried about what's going on behind him, isn't he? I would suggest. But you know, if you're in that position, that's brilliant for Catalano, because Catalano's, he's not thinking about anything. Right? He's not putting himself under any pressure. He's making sure he's hitting his markers. He's just trying to make sure he's keeping consistent and pushing those lap times out. Whereas DeMarco is in a position, and oh dear, Vasarani's just dropped down the table there. So Vasarani's evidently had an issue. Are we off track? No, we're not off track, but that looks like a car who's in a little bit of distress, if I'm totally honest with you, in the 64 Audi. Why has it done that? Well, that's that. There we go. No, he's gone into the pits. Okay, fair enough. Wow. As the camera's doing something rather odd there. Rather odd. So, Vice is still absolutely involved in that scrap at the moment, isn't he? In 8th place. There he is, in the 271 Lamborghini. Again, you don't see a lot of people taking the Lambo these days. I mean, I know she's got a reputation of being a bit wild, but, you know, having driven the Lambo, well, she certainly makes you smile. Let's say that. And we know she's got some decent pace. I suppose it's down to driver preference, if you like the car loose, if you like it more solid. But yeah, you generally don't see that many of them. So I'm going to actually have a little listen. Let's enjoy a bit of Lambo. Just watching that steering wheel. See a slight correction there. So evidently, Vice has got her rather loose, which is totally fine. There's no problem with that at all. If that's how you prefer to drive, that is all good. Anyway, close battles. Wow, Andrea, we need to go and have a look at this. I know I said we had a scrap going on for the podium, but wow, those three, you can't separate them, can you? What an epic fight we've got going on. And that's not just to focus on these guys. We've seen there's plenty. You can see on your screens there's plenty of epic scraps going on up and down the field. When you've got such consistent pace for the podium, it's always exciting. And I think you know, everybody's working hard, but these guys, you know, even though you're only 20 minutes into the race, they'll be thinking, okay, I can do something tonight. I can definitely do something. Go Perez. Yeah, well, Perez is doing very well. Very, very well. Fazekas, so you're not you're in. Oh, and you want Fazekas to do well as well. Okay, Ragioli Racing, great to have you with us this evening. And yeah, those two are certainly doing very, very well indeed. We shall keep an eye on them. Right, so let's find ourselves another close battle. Let's just have a look at some of the doubters before we do that. So we've got 3.1 now is the gap between Pitzik in first place and this trio, who are all just absolutely scrapping away for second, third and fourth place. Fazekas is in fifth, 3.8 further down the road. Then we've got Magnani in sixth, he's a further second back. Kellaway, we've then got a gap, so then you've got Kellaway's 2.8. That gap's increased as well back to Vice, that's 2.5. Remember, we had a good group of about 5 or 6 who were running extremely closely earlier on. Well, that's now obviously moved out slightly as they're, well, maybe the tyres are going slightly, or a bit of fatigue, you know, it happens. Brugnara's in ninth, he's a second behind. Lunardi's then another second behind him, so those two are still close together. And then we've got Catalona in 11th, 3.2. DeMarco's 1.5 behind. Paggy's a second behind, and then we've got the other Brunaga Mattia is 0.4 24, actually 0.3. So where are you, Brunaga? There you go. Brugnara, even. I'll get that one right shortly. So again, these four, there's not a lot to choose between them, and we've got two rather close together behind as well. So Christian Stocks in 15th. Izumani is just coming into your picture there. And then we've got Oligaz in 16th, Katrikala 17th, half a second behind. Sverkov is in 18th, 1.2. Then we've got Vasirani, who's had that accident earlier on, or an incident. I evidently just found down the timesheets pretty quickly. 3.1 in 19th. Miles Clarkson in 20th is 6 seconds further back. Then we've got Luke Pennington in 21st and Graveson in 22nd, 0.4. That one looks a little bit interesting, doesn't it? So, where is he? Let's have a look at Mads. Let's get on board with Mads. Let's have a look. Let's see Mads as we go through Piratella. BMW on BMW action, chasing down Luke Pennington. So this is to see if we can get ourselves, haul ourselves into the top 20. Remember, we started with 44 this evening. I think we've had a couple, certainly, that have left through whatever instance. The most notable of that was our pole man, Sebastian Apostel. Blitzed it and then disconnected before the start of the race. I'm sure he didn't just run off. But there we go. So Graveson, so we're talking 22nd, in 23rd, 1.8 behind. Then we've got Kraling in 24th, Karai 25th, 1.8 behind. Then Berggren 26th, 1.7. Then we've got the other Clarkson, George, in the 110 in 27th. Pit window is open. I did say that would happen. 20 minutes now. 20 minutes to see who's going to do what. Yeah, who's got what strategy up the sleeve, who's going to make a change to that strategy on the fly, who's going to run long, who's going to go short. We're going to find out all of those bits very, very shortly. So Cranian actually ducks in the pits now, thinks, listen, this scrap's too close, I want to get rid, I want to get into some clean air. And then we've got Clarkson, Crepezzi's 27, Serkan Duran's 28, Gary's also in the pits, so that's 29th and 30th in the pits. Baldinini's in 30th, Milani 31st, and obviously the times are changing because we've got people going in the pit, so I'm going to just let that all sort itself out. Guaglio is 31st, Benelli's 32nd, Raggi 33rd, Carreras in 34th, and then we've got Ian King, Matoli and Patino, and those two still having a big scrap. Let's have a look. Because remember, they were nose to tail earlier on, but that looks like it's dissipated somewhat, so it's not going to happen. So now, ladies and gents, it is time, because we're in the pit window, it's time to keep your eyes on who's pitting. Then we can start having a look at how long they're taking in the pits, and we can start figuring out who's carrying more fuel. And remember, there's more than one way to do pit stop in ACC. You've got the way that I normally do it, because I'm not very good, which is to do the automatic pit stop, i.e. you drive in and then you stop around about your box, and it does it for you. It puts you up on the jacks, turns the engine off, does your fuel, does your tyres, and then starts your engine, and off you go. Or there's the way that the really, really good people do it, which is a manual stop. So as they're on their way down the pit lane, they're already turning off their ignition before they've even got into their box properly, so that the car's straight up, and then again they're turning that on and they're in first gear before the car's even dropped, so they can get out straight away. That will save you circa 5-6 seconds on a pit stop. Now 5-6 seconds isn't that much, is it really? But it is a lot, especially when you're in a situation like this, for instance. If one of these individuals did themselves an automatic stop, that's game over. So yeah, interesting. So who else have we got? These three, you cannot separate them, can you? At all. So let's give Perez a little bit of time. Let's have a look back from his car. You've got to remember, Andrea in third place is the quickest on the track as well. They must be just thinking, I need to make a move. Maybe we're now in a position where it's a case of, I'm going to wait. Yeah, so these three, it really is a high-speed game of chess for these three, because, well, who's going to blink first? Who's going to make the move? And I'm pretty sure each individual here is sitting there going, well, whatever he does, I'm going to do the opposite. Whatever she does, I'm going to do the total opposite. Oh, we've got a Petrosini diving down the inside in the start of Tamburella there, and looking really, really racy, aren't they? really racy as we come up towards Villeneuve. I'm going to keep an eye on this with a lot of interest as we go into Villeneuve. This is great for Perez. It allows him to get away, and again, so Andrea there took a little bit of dust as we come into Tosa. Squeeze that throttle on, nice. And they now seem to have settled themselves down again, those two. Calm down, shit. You know what I mean? There's no rush, we've got ages. You can see there's definitely a gap opened up there, and then Fazekas is a further 3.5, nearly 3.5 seconds down the road. So if Perez can make a concerted effort here to get that gap to grow a little bit, it's funny psychologically, you know, Andrea then might just fall back more into Petrosini's clutches, if you like, because instead of being so focused on Perez, automatically the mind's going to make him be more focused on what's going on behind. But again, those gaps look like they've stabilised again, 0.3 and 0.4. So as you were, absolutely crazy. In the live chat, I hope you're all enjoying this. If you are enjoying it and you're watching on my YouTube channel, COMMS by COMMS, please do press like, consider a sub if you want to see all the other bits that go on my channel. And Petrosini blinks first. So Petrosini says, "Now I'm going to try and do an undercut here," and he's going to hope that Perez and Andrea have themselves a bit of a fight and hold themselves up. Now, the jeopardy with that, with a 44 car grid, is are you going to come out in clean air? But I mean, I know some of these chaps do have spotters that will be having a look at live timing wars and things like that and saying, okay, well, if you pit here for circa 30 seconds, you may come out in clear air, you may not. I'd be very intrigued to see if any of them go that far. But so these two are scrapping. These two are having a battle. That is going to help, I feel. I think that's really going to help Petrosini. I really do. Anyway, ding. Someone's pinging me. Apologies if you heard that on the stream. So Callaway, now because we've got pit stops happening, let's see who else have we got in the pits just whilst we're watching this battle at the moment. So Gary's still in the pits, Berggren's in the pits, Ian King. Wow, we've got people. Interesting. We're down to 38. So that's 6 individuals who, don't take this the wrong way, I hope have disconnected rather than left. But yeah, well, it's making my job even easier. Thank you. So Patino is currently still running 38th. Ian King is still running. Now, the last time we looked at Ian King, you remember, he decided to shove his 19 BMW in the wall. There he is. Let's see him do it. Not do it this time. Come on, Ian. In his BMW, still going. Everyone, you know, points are important in a championship. You've got to finish the races because this might be Ian's worst track. It might not be. I'm just guessing. Yeah. You've got to finish because the rest of the tracks might all be absolutely stellar for him, or worse. Again, you don't know, do you? It just depends on each individual. You'll see on the left of your screen, we've now got green stripes coming up, which is obviously informing us which individuals have completed their pit stop, as Petrosini in 24th is out. So this is an important time for him now. He's got to get a decent couple of laps in before... where are they? Have they pitted yet? I'm just going to check that now. So, no, but Andrea has got the move done. Very interesting. So, Andrea, second place now, remember, is the quickest on the track, although Pitzik is showing that he is the quickest on track. So maybe that just hasn't updated from Andrea yet, but Ole is doing a great job out in front in the 141 Aston Martin. I haven't given him a huge amount of time, but you know, he's there or thereabouts, just doing a fantastic job. You don't need to spend huge amounts of time. It's a compliment, believe me, I'm not ignoring you. So Andrea and Perez now, does this mean that Perez is going to come in and pit this lap? That's what I want to know. I'm sure one of these top 3 are going to dump it in the pits shortly. No, neither of them. So all 3 continue. Fazekas is doing really well in 4th place at the moment. Magnani in 5th. Kellaway still in 6th. Vice 7th. Lunardi 8th. Brugnara, Samuel Brugnara 9th. DeMarco's in 10th. Then we've got Paggi, Catricala, Vasarani. Obviously we've got pit stops in play here, so obviously once they shake out, we'll know where they are in terms of actual net position. Magnani's had an issue there. Oh no, it's gone into the pits. I mean, it is an issue because it's going to go slower, but and Brugnara's gone into the pits as well. So Verisani is still out. Clarkson is in 14th, although Verisani's just gone yellow. What's happened there? Where's he gone? Where's he gone? No, he's not on my screen. Fantastic. So Brugnara's in the pits. Catricala is in the pits. Magnani is also in the pits, and as you can see, that is allowing everyone else. Thank you for following. We've got another follower. Fantastic. Fantastic. What's that name? What's that interesting name? Crudcalzo. Good evening, Crudcalzo. If I've said that incorrectly, I do apologise. David Keane is in as well. Good evening, Mr. Keane. I hope you're well, mate. Hope you've had a good Wednesday, halfway through the week, buddy. So, a bit of racing tonight, maybe a podcast later. Happy days. How's the foot, by the way? Are you back racing properly now? Be interested to know that. Top 3 still haven't pitted. Remember, we've got to keep our eyes. Magnani's gone yellow again, and that's in the pit lane. What's happening to that individual? What is going on there? Don't know. Anyway, as we carry on going through that, so Pennington, so Gale's up to 11th. Miles Clarkson is in the top 10, and we have got the top 2, ladies and gents. Right, this is where we're going to get interested because Pit 6 has pitted, as has Perez. So Andrea, who is the quickest on the track, has decided, I'm going to try and push. We're exactly at the halfway mark of the race, so evidently I'll take from that Andrea's going to go until the end of the pit window and then just go for a sort of, maybe not even a splash and dash, just get the tyres changed. So we need to keep our eye out for Perez, yep, because here is Perez in the pits at the moment. Ole's in the pits at the moment as well. Where's our man? Where's he at? Petrosini. So remember, Petrosini was running right in and he's being held up slightly. That is not Serkan Duran in front of Petrosini. I'm assuming. Let me see the number. Well, that one's going to get out of the way anyway. This is a really important part of the race for Petrosini. You know, he took the decision to pit early in front of everyone else. Been trying, mate, not good, but I'll get there. Kino, keep trying, but don't try too hard. You're going to hurt yourself even more. It'll take longer. It'll take longer, mate, to get back in. Right, so let's have a look at Helicam. Those two probably will definitely be out. Oh, we've got a slow mover there. We've got a slow mover. Oh, and that was Perez. That was Perez just coming out the pit. So Petrosini's jumped Perez quite massively there. So in terms of what they've done, so Petrosini did a 34.2, and then he's done so Pit 6 done a 32.1. Petrosini did a 34.2, and Perez has done a 36.3. Now, remember, I did say just as we were getting into the pit stops in terms of doing manual and doing automatic pit stops is normally 5-ish seconds. You've got nearly a 4-second gap between them, hence why we've had a position change. I'm not saying for a moment that he's done an automatic stop, but what is more likely is maybe a couple of seconds worth of damage that's needed to be fixed, or he's had to put in a little bit more fuel. So again, this is what we're saying at the very start of the show. We don't know what strategies people are coming into the race with. Yeah, we don't know what fuel loads they're carrying. Have no idea about that stuff, and you've just seen the beauty of having a decent pit window right now. More text messages. Not now, people. I'm busy. So DeMarco is currently leading the race. Evidently hasn't pitted yet. Then Kellaway, Andrea has. Wow, Andrea's pitted. Okay, interesting. So Andrea was P1, remember, is in the pits and is now moving. So Andrea is there. Where is Pit 6? It's just coming down the start-finish straight. Ooh, that's going to be pretty close. It's not going to be close, is it? If he was a bit further down, as Andrea's going to come thundering past about now, as you've just seen that. That was unfortunate, really. So that's a bigger gap as well compared to what it was earlier on. So instead of it being sort of 3-4 seconds, I think you're going to find that gap's going to grow quite a bit. And at the moment, the big loser is Perez, who's by far 4 seconds odd slower than everybody around him in terms of their pit stops, unfortunately, which is a real shame. A real shame. But anyway, we've got some close battles going on. Let's get back to it. That was probably a wise move there. Probably a wise move. So, Circa, lead of the race. Pitzik is out there. He's now got a 6-second gap. But then we've got Andrea and Petrosini, who we know were very, very close together in the first part of this race. Again, find themselves 0.3. That seems to be their favourite number between these two individuals, and it's just unfortunate, really, that where is he? That Perez isn't involved, because he was only 0.3 behind as well, if you remember previously. But that one looks like it's done. So once DeMarco gets the pit stop out of the way, and Baldinini also needs to pit, as does Vasarani, they may as well go longer and just see if they can keep their pace strong. But Andrea is defending heavily from Petrosini. He thought it was going to make a move, and Andrea's gone wide into Variats. Oh dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear. So it just goes to show, you know, not long been out the pits, Andrea, so those tyres probably not completely in the window yet. Petrosini's been out for a few laps, so you can safely assume that Matteo's tyres are absolutely spot on, hence it allowed him to push. And Andrea went too deep there into Ravazza, and obviously went slightly wide. Is now in a frustrating position back in net third, and he's going to have to do it all over again, which is really unfortunate. Mr. Keane, while you're racing, the sprints and rookies are heading back soon for some fun, says Dan, which is always good to see. Let's go, Benali, Lorenzo. Let's go, let's go. Is another message coming through on the Twitch channel. Good, let's get involved, guys. Come on, let's give our boys some support, girls. It's always good to see. Let's try and find that one, actually. So, where's Benali? 1 second. There you go. Bosh, that's just for you. Just for you. Lorenzo Benelli in the 222 McLaren. Currently running in 34th place. Is up 7 places though. You can see that, which is fantastic. Again, the chosen livery is evidently carbon. I know it's not. There's been some issues with a few of those this evening, but still running in 34th place. They said he got finished first. He's got 5.6 seconds behind Guaglio in 33rd place, and Bergeron behind in 35th. So, you know, it's a good opportunity to keep those laps going in, to keep making. I mean, it's a 44.1. It's not a bad lap time. I mean, it's nearly 4 seconds off what they were doing in qualifying at the front. But as I said, we do have some pretty, you know, some pretty good drivers. And that's an understatement, isn't it? Mid-seat, yeah, that's it. Dow's going to join in another series, racing with another chap, Kino. He's having a chat at the moment in the live chat. So who hasn't pitted? We've got a couple. So DeMarco decides he's going to get the stop done, so that relinquishes Pitzik back into his rightful first spot. Petrosini's still running 6 seconds behind, and Andrea's dropped off now as 1.5 seconds, which is unfortunate, really, and that's dropping him, well, not massively, but Fazekas is not too far behind in 4th, only 2.3 seconds, and we've got Perez 5th, Magnani, Kellaway, Weiss, Brugnara and DeMarco. There's your top 10. Then we've got Paggi, Lonardi, Zverkov, Katrikala, Oliga and the other Brugnara. We've got to have a look at these, actually, because there's only a couple of attempts between the lot of them. So let's have a look from Helicam to start with, just so we can see. They're all pretty close quarters, aren't they? 0.7, 0.71, 0.5. So these 5 are all getting ready to have their own little 25-minute sprint race. Good luck to them. Vasarani's in 17th, hasn't pitted as yet. Last one to pit, I do believe. Christian Stock's 18th, Miles Clarkson 19th, and then Oliver Gale is in 20th. Crane's 21st, and Graveson is at the moment in 22nd place. Catalano's in 23rd, George Clarkson, Clarkson number 2 is in 24th, then we've got Karai 25th, Crepezzi's in 26th, Serkan Duran 27th, Baldinini is in 28th, Carrera is in 29th, and then we've got David Gowrie in 30th, as these 5 are all getting rather bunched up, aren't they? Loris Guaglio's in 31st, Payton's 32nd, Benelli, as we saw just previously, is in 33rd now. Marcus Bergeron is 34th, Raggi's 35th, then we've got Matoli and Patino are still at it in 36th and 37th, which is absolutely great to see. I do love seeing that. Right, so Lunardi, let's go back with this one. So carbon on carbon. Well, I could say it's carbon date. No, stop it. I'll stop with the dad joke. Well, I haven't done any tonight, to be fair. So we're on board with Sverkov at the moment in the number 20 Audis. We're in the run down towards Tamburello, hard on those brakes, and there was a love tap there. There definitely was a love tap. So Catricala in the 60 Ferrari once passed, but that's dropped him back into the clutches of Max Oliger. As you can see in his BMW, just pulls out to the left there and the way into Villeneuve. Thought about trying to make a move. He's going to try and push these guys deep, and all the while this is happening, we've got Brugnara in his 29 Ferrari. He's absolutely right on the back. He's just seen him peeping his head out there from behind that BMW. We've got 4 steaming up towards Piratella. This could get quite interesting. I'm thinking a Variante Alta. That's what I'm thinking. So let's stick with this, shall we? Into Piratella. All coming through line astern. No issues for any of them. Well timed there. Nice little burst of flames. And then on the hill up towards the Variante Alta. Now I did say I thought this may be where we see something happening. 1 gets through safe, 2 comes through. They're all going to be taking as much of that curb as possible, and that has definitely allowed Sverkov to scamper away a little bit there. And we've got a move going on. So Oliger has managed to get himself in front of Catricala there, and he's got the inside line into Ravazza 1. So he's just got to hold that line, which he does. He's got to hold this line, and now he's got 2 Ferraris all over the back of him. Verasani still hasn't pitted there. I've got yellows going on there. Oh dear, and that's Magnani. It's unfortunately had an off into Tamburello by the look of it. That's going to lose so much time there because of the gravel. And Vasirani, pit window is closed, has not pitted according to my timing screens. So if anyone knows any different, let me know. But according to this, he hasn't done his stop, and therefore probably get a DSQ for that. And we've got someone at the side of the road. Well, it wasn't Max. Anyway, Max is under some pressure, isn't he, at the moment? They're all at it. This is brilliant. That's what we've got. Just under 22 minutes left. It has been. He's a bad man. That. Why? What have I done? Hold on a minute. What have I done now? Oh dear, oh dear. As you will all become accustomed to, which is actually part of the show, he's paid to do this. Some of the guys that regularly watch, and I'm very grateful that they do, we all know each other pretty well over the last year or so, and apparently it was my fault that Kino's injured his foot and can't race properly, because I kicked him at Donington, which is obviously not true. I wasn't even there with him, so I don't know where he got that from. They're having a little chat amongst themselves, which is all good. Anyway, anyone on Twitch that hasn't pressed the right button to like this or follow, please do so. That would really help our Twitch following, keep that growing. And anyone who's watching on my YouTube channel, COMMS by Coops, please do press the like button or consider a sub. I'd be very, very grateful, as these 4 are still at it. But it does look like their gap is increasing slightly. Where's DeMarco gone? He looked like he was pretty close last time, and he is pretty close, isn't he? So the 39 BMW of DeMarco, he's got himself some company, and that would be Riccardo Paggi is only half a second behind him. So we've got more BMW on BMW action there. Someone's pulling out of the way just to make sure they're not getting involved in anyone else's battles there. That was good driving. That was good. That was good spatial awareness there. That's always what we like to see. Top of the charts, no change there. So Pitzig is still, leading. Petrosini in second, and Andrea is still on the podium. Again, we've got a new quickest lap of the race from him. Just recently set a 1:40.890. So quite clearly the quickest. Now that his tyres, those tyres have come into the right operating window, he's pushing again. It's now only a second to Petrosini. That could end up being a coming together at the end of the race. You never know. Perez in 5th, so Perez is battling back quite nicely. How far back is Perez? 2.5. I would hazard a guess that Perez may get onto the back of Fazekas towards the end of this race. Callaway's having a really good race actually, as is Weiss in 6th and 7th. Haven't really heard much of them, but that just shows that they're being extremely consistent. Then we've got Brunara again, Magnani. We're looking at DeMarco at the moment, who's under pressure from Riccardo Paggi there in the 93 BMW. Bernardi 12th, Sverkov is 13th, Oliver's 14th. The gaps are elongating now. They've got their pit strategies done. They're all going to be running probably, you would assume, almost identical levels of fuel now, after they've made sure their calculations were correct. Catricala 15th, Bugnara, the other one, 16th, and then, as I say, Vasarani is in 17th but hasn't completed the pit stop. Christian Stock is 18th, 4.6 down. Then we've got Clarkson, number 1, in 19th, and Oliver Gerlach makes up your top 20. We do going to have a challenger, I believe. Yeah, it's this little group again, still going for it. That's in 15th. I want to go here. There we go. So we're on board with Manuel Catalona in 22nd place, only 0.3 behind Gravesend. Let's enjoy this battle developing as we go through Villeneuve. Let's see. Well, taking a bit of gravel there. That's not going to help you at all. It's going to dirty those tyres, and it may push you slightly deep into the corner. Manages to get that Beamer stopped, but you can see quite clearly. We've got the 57 Nissan. You know, she does pull quite well. She's underrated. She is an underrated car, and I'll plug this whilst we're here. If any of you want to actually have a look at some car guides, you know, if you're not sure which vehicle is right for you, which one to take, or you're just curious, have a look on my YouTube channel. There is a little section on there called Coop's Cars, and all of these cars, bite-sized review on what I think. Doesn't mean it's right. It's just my own personal opinion. But yeah, might give you some useful information if you feel like having a look. And we've got DeMarco's tumbling, gone into the pits. So DeMarco's evidently had an issue. Remember, he was running quite happily in 10th place, so he's come tumbling down the timesheets, and they're all getting pretty close in that battle up there. So we'll see this one through. Catricala's dropped a spot as well, so Bugnara's moved up a spot into 14th. Sverkov's only half a second behind Bernardi, so there's quite a lot going on at the moment. And it also appears that Karai in 25th place has not pitted yet either. We're going to get a move. It's a good place to do one. That was good. They both gave each other racing room there, but as you can see, Gravesend is a little bit all over the place in terms of lines, because Catalona's being that aggressive, managing to throw that Nissan around through Villeneuve. He's going to get a switcheroo on. He did set himself up for that, but obviously he is now going to be on the outside into Toza. So he's probably going to break early. No, he's going to try and force the issue around the outside. He's held his line nicely, and well, that was a pretty good move, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Catalano manages to move up into 21st place, and that puts Gravesend down into 22nd. Let's see if we can come back at him. George Clarkson 23rd, Stefan Cranen is in 24th, only second behind Clarkson, so there's a battle that's probably going to develop in the next 15 or so minutes. And then we've got Crepesi in 26th, Serkan Duran's running 27th in his 100 Lamborghini. Baldinini is in 28th place. Then we've got Gary 29th, Carreras in 30th, Guaglio is running 31st, and then Lorenzo Bonelli is still running fantastic in 32nd place. And how many more have we got after that? Not many, unfortunately. Marcus Berggren's running 33rd, Mattoli 34th, Patino 35th, and then Ian King is in 36th. Luke Pennington is still with us, but in the pits. So Luke, if you're watching, let me know what's happened, mate. It would be very, very good to know. So, top of your charts, we have still got Pitzik is still leading. Wow, I did say, didn't I, that Andrea was pushing the boat out again in terms of quickest laps, and has managed, look at that, to get the move done. I know we missed that, sorry about that, but I think it's important that we give everybody some track time. Everyone's putting in the same amount of time and effort. You know, I'll never just sit on one battle. And but Andrea, yeah, really pushing those lap times, has got the move done on Petrosini. And the problem for Petrosini, I think you'll find, I don't think, well, you have to take tyres, don't you? So I think Petrosini's pushed the tyres way too much, because he's now under some huge pressure from this man, which is Barnabas Fazekas, who is all over the back of Petrosini. and he's going to challenge for the podium. It's always, do you know what, it's always really gutting when you've had a race that's been going on for what, 40-50 minutes at the moment, and you've been absolutely powering away, you're just going for it, and then you lose a podium right at the end. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but we've all seen it happen a lot, haven't we, let's be honest, and you've got to be pretty gutted. So it's only 0.4 between these two. Perez is now only 3 seconds behind. He was 4.8, remember earlier on when I said I thought he would end up catching Fazekas by the end of the race. He is catching. These two are going to hold each other up. You just saw there in the background at the top of the hill of Piratella, you just saw his car, and you can just see it again now on the way into Acqua Minerale. So I believe Perez could catch these two, and if he does, he is 100% going to want to make some moves, given that he'd lost 5.5 seconds in the pit stops and then had to come back through. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that delta. It's currently 3 seconds. Kellaway is just doing what he needs to do in 6th place. No one in front of him really. No one behind him really. He's got big gaps, so he's just being consistent. Just doing a hot lap session really. And then we've got Vice done really well in 7th. Again, same situation. But Samuel Brugnara in 8th place. Challenge accepted. So Brugnara in 8th is only 0.3 behind. As you can see, he's in the number 9 out. He's really hunting down that Lamborghini in front. And we've got somebody, I can't remember who that crazy pink one is, but hopefully isn't going to get in the way too much as they head on to the start-finish straight. Let's see. Blue flags are waving. I know now, obviously, in GT3 racing, you don't have to jump out the way. I say this all the time. It's not Formula 1. It's not a case of, quick, move out the way. You know, you don't have to. It is a polite piece of information to let you know that a quicker driver is coming up behind you. It's then up to you. And the rules generally are keep on your racing line, be consistent, and if you are going to do a lift or you are going to move out the way, do it on a straight. And then that way, there shouldn't be any unnecessary actions or crashes or anything like that. So this battle's hotting up quite nice, isn't it, at the moment, between Brugnara and Vice. You've got two very agile, very aero-dependent cars there, and obviously, you know, Imola's a track. You know, she does undulate nicely, you know, she meanders around, so there's a lot of opportunities in terms of weight transfer, who's going to have the more solid setup or who's going to be more slippery. Yeah, when you're going through the quicker sectors, we shall find out as they go both bouncing, especially Brugnara, absolutely hopping over those sausage curves there. How that didn't unsettle the back end of that car, well, that's down to driver skill. That's, you know, if that was me, I'd certainly probably be in the wall. And DeMarco and Clarkson down in 18th and 19th are just swapping places there as well. So this battle, we've got literally just under 11 minutes to go. At the top, Pitzik is doing an absolutely stellar job. Stellar job at the moment, still leading the race, 2.8 seconds ahead of Andrea. And then Petrosini's now 4.5 seconds down. Fazekas has dropped off slightly, so that was half a second, it's now a second. So Petrosini seems to have collected himself, or maybe, you know, looked after the tyres for a couple of laps and is able to push again. Whatever he's done seems to have worked, because it's gapped to the second. And Perez, again, I was saying, thought was going to catch up. He's now dropped 0.8 as well. So whatever they're doing is working. This is your closest battle on track at the moment, 0.2 seconds. We can certainly enjoy these two. Let's get on board. Let's put ourselves in the mindset of Brugnara. Let's enjoy that for a moment. Into Acqua Minerale yet again. Under 10 minutes now, so if they're going to push, you're thinking now's got to be a time where they've got to start thinking about that, most certainly. So we've still got, well, you know, we don't have a huge amount of people watching so far this evening still, but I'm not expecting that. This is the first one in, and hopefully people will start getting used to what we're going to try and do on each show. and that will increase some interest and momentum. But thank you for those individuals that have subscribed and liked. Certainly, thank you for that. Wow, I did say, didn't I, that battle seemed to be done. Well, this battle isn't done, is it? Because Fazekas is whatever he's done. Maybe he was the one who was having a little bit of a break. Blue flags, make sure we don't get involved there. And Toza, they've both managed to get on the throttle at the same time. So, Petrosini, I think it was the other way around. Is in a position now where he's massively under pressure. 8.5 minutes to go. Does he have the tyres? If he pitted right at the beginning of that pit window, and I think he did, 1.5 to 2 minutes into that window, you know, those tyres have been on there for quite a while, and track temperatures haven't really changed. It's still 19 ambient, 23 on track, so it's not like the tyres are being cooked in terms of the weather, but just the absolute punishment that they're giving them lap after lap is evidently beginning to take its toll. Perez is now again only 2.8 behind, so it almost feels like they've all chilled out for a lap or two. They've just looked after everything, composed themselves, and then decided, right, that's it. 9 minutes to go. Let's absolutely nail it. Let's give it all or nothing. And well, if you're looking at the lap times on some of those battles, that would certainly be the case. Go Barney. Yeah, go Barney. Says one of our... Who's... Ragioli Racing. Yeah, indeed. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's great to have the support, though. So, through Tamburello we go. And was that an actual move, or was that someone just diving down the inside of someone there? Was that Crepesi? It was Crepesi. So, Crepesi's made a move, gone up to 26. Serkan Duran's dropped there, down to 27th now, unfortunately. And Catalona's only 0.2 again, so our man in the Nissan 57, Manuel Catalano, seriously, I'll get there. He's having a great race. These two are having a really good battle, aren't they? So Oliver Gerler now is sat in 20th place, and Catalano wants to get into the top 20, and who can blame him? He's actually had a very, very good race as they come. You just see the difference in how the car handles over those curves. The McLaren's obviously very squatted, it's very, very low aero dependent, and then you've got the Nissan, which is well, obviously she's called Godzilla for a reason. You know, she's high, she's big, she rides the curves. And if you get the setup right on her, as going to Tamburello, no move doing there. But again, just showing the nose, just trying to see if you can get Oliver to, you know, go a little bit deeper, go slightly offline. And that's what it's all about. And that's what's going to get you the tiny little advantages which are going to allow you to get the traction, get the power down quicker, take more speed through the corner, get into the braking zone better, whatever it is. Those are the tiny little bits of racecraft which everybody works so hard for. As we're in almost, I can't believe this, we're almost into the last 5 minutes, which means we've completed 59 minutes and 10 seconds so far of this race. No change in your top three as it stands. We're currently watching the battle here for 20th place, and as I've said before earlier on, we were watching the guys in 41st and 42nd, and that was Patino? Was it Patino? Yeah, no, Patino and Matoli. Those two are still absolutely together at the back, but it doesn't matter. It's brilliant racing. You're going to be having a great time. As we're getting a little notification there of Gerler obviously going slightly off track. So let's have a quick look elsewhere. So Andrea still holding the fastest lap of the race at 1:40.745. Let's have a quick look at Pitzik. Not doing anything wrong. 2.6 seconds the gap though. That's coming down. That is coming down. You just saw the way Andrea threw that Aston across the curbs. That's come down by 3/10 since I've been looking at this particular picture. Interesting. Very interesting. Sverkov in 12th place is only half a second behind Lenardi, so he could potentially challenge there. In terms of everyone else in the top 10, we are as you were. Fasikez 4th, Perez 5th, Kellaway 6th by 7th, Brugnara in 8th, Magnani 9th, and Paggi is in 10th. Then we've got Lenardi, Sverkov, the other Brugnara, Mattia in 13th, Oliga 14th, Catricala 15th, Varisani in 16th, again, I'll just point out, hasn't done the pit stop, which is why it doesn't have a green stripe, has that golden one there. DeMarco 17th, Christian Stock 18th, Clarkson first 1 miles in 19th, and then we were looking at Geller and Catalano 20th and 21st. They're still battling. It's still only 0.4. Then we've got Graveson, or who's that 19? We've got someone turned around. Who's 19? Let's have a little look. It's got to be further down the grid. It is indeed Ian King. He's had a nightmare tonight, unfortunately, in his BMW. So that's the second time we've caught a spin from him, and that car's going to be carrying quite a bit of damage. So just be careful, Ian. Don't kill anyone. Luke Pennington's still in the pits, still with us, and that's, you know what? He's still with us. He hasn't left the server, which is all good. Serkan Duran 27th, Baldinini 28th, Gowrie 29th, and then Carreras in 30th, Guaglio 31st, Berggren in 32nd. Just put a move on Lorenzo Bonelli, so that won't please some of our viewers, because we know we do have some support in for Bonelli, but it is racing. It does happen. So that's a pretty close battle. We've got Catalano and Gale. Has that move happened? It is happening, isn't it? So, last 3 minutes, ladies and gents. Andrea's got that gap down to 2 seconds. Right, let's compare these two. No, we haven't used that so far this evening, but we should have a look. So we've got Andrea's times on the left-hand side, bottom right of your screen. We've got Andrea's on the top left, on the left side, sorry, and Pitzik on the right, so we can see what their sector times are. So, look, there's 2,000ths between them in Sector 1, 900ths in Sector 2, but then there's 3/10ths in the last sector. And we have seen Andrea absolutely throw that Aston across the curves, and I'm probably thinking carrying a little bit more, maybe not a lot, but a smidge more pace through Ravazza 1 and 2. However, in my own, from my own experience, the Variante Alta, there's up to half a second there, easily half a second that you can lose or gain, depending on how confident you are with jumping across those sausage curves. And I think we're seeing that, so I'm going to keep those doubters right there for us to keep our eye on. We've got 1 minute 45 left of this 65-minute race. It's been absolutely fabulous. Anything else going on? Fazekas is now 1.2 behind Petrosini, so fingers crossed Petrosini may have sewn up a potential podium place there. Perez is still trying to put some pressure on in terms of his 5th position, although he's dropped off by 4.4 seconds now, so I can't see anything happening there. Kellaway's just doing a great job in 6th, Vice 7th, Brugnara. And remember, Samuel's carrying bragging rights at the moment in the Brugnara household or clan in 8th place. Magnani is in 9th. There's only a second and a bit separating those two. And then we're going to get a call for last lap at a moment, I do believe. Let's have a listen.
Right, man, leader is on the final lap.
There we go. Final lap of the race, 1.5 seconds in it. What's going to happen? What is going to happen? I'm going to take that off. We don't need that anymore because we can see what's going on. So, I mean, obviously, Pitsik's had an absolutely brilliant evening. You know, 4th in free practice. 4th in free practice. Qualified 4th or 5th. No lower than 5th, certainly. And has just been ultra consistent. It's coming under some pressure now, though. It's the last lap of the race. And Andrea, who is the quickest, has been all race long, finds himself just over a second behind. This is, I've got to get on board with this. Right, we have to have a good watch of this till the end, guys and girls. Remember, he's quicker through the final sector, so that's the Variante Alta and the 2 Ravazzas. If he can get within a second before we get there, and it is a second at the moment, I'm interested to see. He's going to absolutely have to throw this thing. Talk about straight line. Let's see what happens. It's 0.7 seconds, down a couple of gears. Look how much extra he takes through there. We've got a little bit of correction on the exit, and that's now just pushed up slightly. 0.7 seconds into the final 2 corners. That's asking a lot, isn't it? So I think if Pitzik just gets that turning right, and he does, we've got someone off the track in front. That's not going to impact these two, and they both get a very, very similar getaway from the last corner. And there we go, ladies and gents. I'm going to do a big round of applause to Pitzik there. Fantastic race. Well done, Pitzik. very well deserved. Andrea, what a stonky race you've had as well, taking P2, only 0.5 behind at the end. You two Astons should be pretty happy with yourself there. And let's go and see Petrosini. There we go, finished in third on the podium. Well done. You've had to work hard for that one, Petrosini. Brave move to come in and pit earlier than everybody else. Probably dealing with some tyre issues at the end, but you held on to that nicely. Fazekas has finished in fourth place again. Really consistent run from you. Impressed with your driving. And Perez, who was unfortunate in those pit stops. Again, I'll be interested to know if there was a slight damage issue or if it was more fuel being put in. But certainly lost a good 4.5 seconds in the pit stop, which is evidently what's put him out of sync at the end there. Jason Kellaway, 6th place. Well done to you. Really, really good, consistent run there. Nothing special, nothing major going on. Just head down and doing a very, very good job. Vice in 7th, the same. Samuel Brugnara gets the bragging rights for finishing in 8th place. Then we've got Magnani finished in 9th. Well done to you in the BMW, and Paggy in 10th. Lenardi has pulled over there in his BMW, finished in 11th place. Then we've got Sverkov 12th, Brugnara part 2, which is Mattia, finished in 13th place. Olinger 14th. Let's have a look at him. Let's try and go for everyone. Olinger in 14th place there. Well done to you. Catricala, I mean, that's some pretty good scraps going on there over the last hour and a bit. So well done to you in 15th place. Vasarani, again, in 16th. Says hasn't completed the pit stop, so we'll wait and see what happens at the end of that. DeMarco in 17th place. Don't know if he'll be massively happy because he was running in the top 10. Miles Clarkson in 18th, Catalano in 19th, and then Oliver Gerla managed to bring it home in the top 20. Well done. Christian Stock 21st, Graveson in 22nd place, George Clarkson in 23rd. Then we had Stefan Kraling in 24th place. Karai in 25th. Serkan Duran managed to get 26th in his Lamborghini. Crepesi in 27th place. Baldinini in 28th, Gary 29th, Guaglio 30th, and then we've got Fabio Carrera in 31st place, Marcus Bergeron in 32nd, Lorenzo Benelli 33rd, Martoli in 34th, Patino in 35th, Ian King in 36th. I had one to forget there, Luke Pennington, at least he's still in there, in 37th place. Wow. What do you reckon, guys? That was pretty epic, wasn't it? So congratulations, most certainly, to the podium. Do you know what? It's not just the podium, is it? Congratulations to everybody. It was a massive grid. Everyone got involved, and that was some really, really good racing. I'm very glad. I'm very happy that I've been able to come and enjoy all of that with you guys and girls, and hopefully, well, if you all want me to, I'll be here for the rest of the season. No problems at all. So congratulations to our podium this evening. Just fantastic racing, guys. Excellent pace, and I have to say, commiserations to Apostle. Obviously, I think he got disconnected, but we go again next week, most certainly. So, ladies and gents, from me, COMMS by Coops. I appreciate everyone that's been involved in the live chat, everyone that's got involved, left any likes, left any follows on the Twitch channel, left any subs or likes on my YouTube channel. It's been absolutely brilliant. I love getting involved with you all, and hopefully we can do it all again next week. So, from me, until next time, COMMS by Coops, out.